Okay, so welcome to the first High Value Nutrition Industry Forum. It's good to see so many of you here, and thank you for giving up a day of your time to come along and hear where we're at and what we've got to say, and hopefully give us some of your thoughts. I'm just going to run through the objectives for the day and make a couple of points. So a number of you would have read Rod Urham's column in the Sunday Star Times last week, in fact Sunday before last, entitled Food's New Horizon. It's quite relevant, it's definitely worth a read. But in it, that's not what I'm going to talk about. In it he commented that the 11 national science challenges were amorphous and bureaucratic. Now I'm not going to be dealing with the bureaucracy of them here today, but the aim really is to make one of them less amorphous. So in other words, to give shape to the High Value Nutrition National Science Challenge. So it's here today, at least you've got to say that one is less amorphous than it was before. So Prue Williams is shortly going to tell you about the concept behind National Science Challenges. High Value Nutrition is a unique one, and that is about balancing scientific and commercial outcomes. And the end result will be a commercial one, an increase in exports from New Zealand. Shortly, Joanne and Martin are going to tell you where the funding is currently allocated, or in a couple of cases not yet allocated. Now this will give you a sense, it's tended to give you a sense that things are underway, and they are. But I want to make it clear that high value nutrition is not simply a funding allocation model, another way in which the state funds its science. It is about delivering a commercial result and about assisting the development of an ecosystem on the back of our scientific knowledge that builds a reputation for New Zealand as a source of food that delivers proven nutritional and health benefits to our customers. Now this is our KPI slide, and I put it up to show a couple of things. You can see down the left it's got the main KPIs, which are do with revenues, biomarkers, capabilities used, products and development industry co-funding and evidence dossiers. But the top one is around revenue growth, as is the right access. And I put it up to show you a couple of things. Firstly, the ambitions are bold, $1 billion in export revenues by 2025. But note that there's three shades in the graph, and the billion, you said billion in 2025 on the far right side. The bottom shade, the darker green shade, is the revenues from the research that we fund. The middle is the impact from the revenues from the high value nutrition aligned research. So in other words, the research that's going on with the CRIs or those entities that are close to or closely involved in the challenge. And the last, the impact from the influence activities. So the objective is not saying that we're only measuring or only focused on the work that we fund. The $1 billion goal will not be achieved from the $84 million investment that we make. We need to achieve more broadly, and we need to do that through influence, through facilitation. So facilitating the building of the science, the building of the ecosystem, and the building of New Zealand's reputation. Achieving our aims will need great science, world-leading science to get us there, and we'll need great sales and marketing people and great companies to get us there. This means that we will need to talk to each other. The government through MBIE that is funding this, the scientists who are developing and validating the benefits, the regulators who are accessing the markets, and the marketers who will be selling the products and persuading the consumers of their benefits. Today is an early part of that conversation. Today is also about letting you know where we're at with high value nutrition and the way ahead as we see it. In some areas the way ahead is not clear, and you will hear about that. We trust give us your views. Communication is critical. We need to know what you think needs to be done. Now in terms of where we're at with this challenge, we have now at last come out of the establishment stage. And while I wouldn't call it a steady state, we've moved to the next phase where we've got a workload, a number of established teams busy with their work, and have made investments that are aimed at achieving scientific insights and outcomes rather than just getting us up and running. Now, getting to this point has not been easy. We have 5 founding partners, 3 universities and 2 CRIs. There we are, 3 universities and 2 CRIs. And they've had to come together. They've had to agree a way of working together. They've had to get people in place to find out how they're going to do that. Those people have had to write proposals for funding that went to MBIE. They've had to appear in front of eminent panels to get that funding. They've had to put in place a number of teams, determine the focus areas we're going to look at, get funds and allocate that funds to finance the work. So as you can imagine, this has been a time-consuming, complex process. It's taken a long time to get us here, and it's very good indeed to be on to the next phase. We must pay tribute to John Smart and David Cameron Smith, who I don't think either of them are here today, where David might be, who with the help from a small but committed team have put an enormous effort to get us to this point. They worked through all those tasks that I've just mentioned, and they were the force behind the successful science forum that we had at Villanbury in April, but in some ways we are coming of age. As I've said a number of times, and you would have gathered, we are at the next stage, and for this we have a new leadership team who will drive us through it. So the last of the objectives for today is for you to meet them. You'll hear from both of them later in the program, and I encourage you to meet with them during the breaks. I'd like to introduce them to you. Firstly, Joanne as Challenge Director. That's Joanne over there. As Challenge Director, she's responsible for the overall achievement of the Challenge's goals. She comes to us from Fonterra, where she had various roles in innovation and nutrition, centred mainly on consumer goods, one of which was aniline, which is one of New Zealand's biggest successes in the high-value nutrition arena. We also welcome Martin. Martin's over there on the right of Joanne. He is the Chief Scientist of the Challenge. We're welcoming him not only to the Challenge, but also to New Zealand. He will ensure that we have the science to meet our aims and lead the cluster of scientific teams that form the Challenge. He's just arrived here from Switzerland, where he was head of the Molecular Biomarkers Core at the Nestle Institute of Health Science. Most recently led the Systems Nutrition Group, which develops and conducts systems biology-oriented nutrition and health research in the context of healthy aging, with a focus on cognitive, metabolic and intestinal health. So as you can see, a very relevant background, and it's great to have them on the team. Very pleased to have them both on board at long last. It's taken a while, and to have them contribute to and lead the Challenge. And you can see they've got the background and the skills to do that. So welcome to you all, and enjoy the day, which I'm sure you'll find interesting. Now my next job is to introduce the next speaker. She's Prue Williams. I've already said she's going to give you an overview of the National Science Challenges. She is from MBIE. She's the General Manager of the Science System, Investment and Performance. So Prue, over to you to talk about the other 10 bureaucratic and more challenges.
Ina mana, ina reo, ira rangatira mā. Tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou katoa. Good morning and greetings to you all. Thanks particularly to you, Bob, for the opportunity to open this forum. And I'd like to start by congratulating the High Value Nutrition Challenge on even running this forum. It's particularly good to see the mix of the industry representatives here today coming together with the scientists in this challenge. The challenge will only succeed if there's a strong collaboration between the researchers and the industry participants. So today is really critical and an important opportunity to enable that engagement to happen. I'm sure you're all aware of the National Science Challenges. It's a new strategic approach to carrying out mission-led science investment for New Zealand. And there are challenges, there are 11 of them, and they all respond to the most important national scale issues and opportunities for New Zealand. They are identified by a process including public consultation about what are the most important science issues facing New Zealand. Each one of them is mission-led, and they're all designed to tackle our big science-based challenges. They're cross-disciplinary and they require collaboration between researchers from different disciplines coming together, from universities, from academic institutions, from Crown Research Institutes, working with businesses, non-government organisations, all in search of a common objective. They're designed to take a more strategic approach to the government's science investment by targeting a series of goals which, if achieved, could have major and enduring benefits for New Zealand. In total, there's almost about $1.6 billion worth of funding over the 10-year period of the challenges. That includes new funding from the government, some of the existing funding from contestable contracts managed by MBIE, relevant funding from the Crown Research Institutes and from other organisations as well, aligned from other entities like the Health Research Council. National Science Challenges are part of a much wider system in New Zealand of investing in research, and we're wanting to invest in high quality research that invests and delivers benefit for New Zealand. And that wider portfolio of science programs includes a balance of risks, impacts, and across short-term as well as long-term timeframes. And last year, the government released the National Statement in Science Investment, a strategic document outlining its vision for the science system over the next 10 years. And over the next 10 years, the government wants to see a better performing science system that is larger, more agile and more responsive, investing effectively for long-term impact on our health, our economy, our environment and society. It wants to grow the amount of business expenditure in R&D to well above 1% of GDP, driving a thriving independent research sector that is a major pillar of the New Zealand science system. The government wants to see a system with reduced complexity and increased transparency in the public science system. It wants continuous improvement in New Zealand's international standing as a high-quality R&D destination, resulting in the attraction, development and retention of talented scientists and direct investment by multinational organisations. So the objective of the High Value Nutrition Challenge is to capture an increased share of the higher value market that exists for foods delivering a validated health benefit to the consumer. The challenge will invest in novel science at the cutting edge of knowledge and work alongside industry to ensure New Zealand's capability in validated health foods is sustainable and relevant in the long term. The challenge provides the underpinning science capability and knowledge in specific areas, and the intention is that industry will use this underpinning science capability and knowledge to develop foods that deliver these validated health benefits. The challenge is focusing on 4 themes: metabolic health, gastrointestinal health, immune health, and weaning foods for health. And it also has decided on 2 underpinning streams of work that support these themes: food science and supporting health benefits, and consumer insights into the export food for health market. And I'm sure we'll hear more about these themes from the speakers today. The High Value Nutrition Challenge is particularly important to the government's goals. The government wants to double the value of primary sector exports by 2025. New Zealand has experienced strong growth in the export of high quality foods and ingredients in recent years. This has been built off a strong, broad production base. However, further significant growth in exports will only occur if we access higher value markets. Foods and beverages sold on the basis of a health claim or a health benefit must demonstrate a scientifically defined biological mechanism of action and validation, and this is the focus for investment by High Value Nutrition. The Science Board has approved funding of up to $30 million per annum, $30 million, if only, $30 million over 4 years to allow work on this challenge to progress. The High Value Nutrition Challenge was officially launched in April 2014 and was the first challenge out of the starting block. So you are leading the way here and setting a very good example to the other 10 challenges. And because we have already seen good progress with the early projects that have been funded and the results that are starting to emerge. Today's event is an important one. It allows the High Value Nutrition to share some of the outputs from these early science programs, and the event enables the challenge to outline the different paths for engagement and how partners can benefit from the science. We see the benefits from this challenge to New Zealand as being many and varied. Not only will it place us as world leaders in the science behind creating foods for health, but the outcomes for the challenge will also provide real opportunities for New Zealand companies that operate in the food and nutrition space, and hopefully those of you who are here today from the companies can see those benefits. It will be exciting to see how, over time, linkages between the challenge and firms develop to create export opportunities. In addition to creating these opportunities for New Zealand firms, there are also opportunities to partner with international companies as well. And as part of the government's business growth agenda, the government is actively encouraging multinational companies to conduct research in New Zealand So specifically, we want to encourage international food industry companies to develop advanced foods using our New Zealand research capability. Like Bob, I want to acknowledge those of you who have been involved in bringing the challenge to this point. I too want to acknowledge the hard work it has been to get these challenges underway, and I want to acknowledge the role that the partners in the challenge, Ag Research, Massey University, Plant and Food Research, the University of Auckland and the University of Otago, and I know there are representatives from these organisations here today, and I want to really acknowledge the work you've put together in forming a research alliance to address this challenge. And also want to acknowledge the work that these partners are doing to engage with experts from other parts of New Zealand and overseas to ensure that we've got the broad range of scientific disciplines, including biomedical, clinical and food sciences, to achieve the ultimate outcomes. The challenge will also bring to New Zealand the most innovative businesses together to work with research in areas of economic potential in foods with validated health benefits. This will be a great New Zealand story, a great New Zealand science team creating benefits for New Zealand. The outcomes from the challenge, when they're achieved, will have a major benefit for New Zealand by increasing the value of New Zealand raw materials and food exports and improving the value proposition to consumers through a health claim on food. This will lead to increased premiums on food and increased sale volumes, which will ultimately contribute to our New Zealand's economic benefit and make New Zealand a better place for all. In addition, New Zealand will become a world leader in foods for health. This is a really exciting prospect. So thank you for the opportunity to open this forum. I wish you all the best for the large amount of work that will go into delivering the successful outcomes for this challenge, and I look forward for hearing more in due course. Thank you and have a good forum.